Hello, hello, Pete Moriarty here. Thank you so much for joining. If you are joining on the live, if you're on the restream, let me know, say hello as well in the comments. We are doing all of your questions. I'm going to be answering as many questions as I can live. My team have submitted a number of questions for me today, but I've also got a bunch of your questions ready to rock and roll as well. So if you want to submit a question and have us answer them live, you can do so at ask.itgenius.com. And if you're new around here, welcome. I try and do as many of these as I can, answering your questions on Google Workspace. We are a small business consultancy. We've been working with Google businesses all over the world for right around 20 years now, which is pretty crazy. But we help small and medium-sized business owners systemize, organize, and scale using Google Workspace and other small business technology tools. Now, our real focus is helping you get the most out of the platform, securing your business, making sure that you've got backup, antivirus, and all of those things sorted. We can register your domain names for you, basically everything that a small business needs in IT. And if you're wondering why it's daytime here, it's because I've just actually moved to a European time zone, which I know some of our regular followers are going to be happy about, because for the next few years, I'm going to be based in Europe. And that's exciting because it means that we'll be able to open up our business to some more people. Right now, we just cover Australian and North American time zones, but I'm hoping sometime soon in the next year or so, we'll be able to open up to European time zone as well. So fingers crossed that'll happen. If you watch it on the live, please make sure you say hello. Drop me a little message in the live chat. Let me know where you're watching from or where you're listening from. And if you've got any questions that you'd like me to cover live, just remember to pop them into the chat, ask.itgenius.com. You can pop the question in there or into the chat on the live stream. Okay, now I said my team have given me a couple of questions ready to rock and roll. So I'm going to go ahead and go through our pre-done questions. These are important questions my team want me to answer. And the first one is, how can I automate repetitive tasks in Google Workspace? Now, if you're a Google Workspace administrator or you're a small business owner who's stuck with the job of managing your Google Workspace, you're probably interested to know, how can I, make sure that I'm keeping productive? And Google's got a number of ways that you can have your business processes repeated or, let's say, made more efficient using Google's tools. And I want to take you through a few different areas that you can do that. Now, when you think of the word repeating, immediately I start to think about Google Calendar, right? And Google Calendar is the most obvious place where you're going to be repeating or setting up tasks or anything else that you need done in a fashion that happens multiple times. So if I go into my Google Calendar here and I go to create an event, set up an event, I can set it to repeat. Now, that's not rocket science, right? Anyone can set a recurring event in their calendar. I think by now we all will have worked out how to do that. But there's a couple of other cool things that I like to do with repeating events that is useful for us as small business owners and can make your life a little more easier. And so one of the things that I like to do is to set up group-based event invitations. And so with group-based event invitations, what that means is when I have a new employee who's starting with my business, they will automatically receive notifications of events that they've been invited to in the past. So what does that look like? Well, I go and open up an event. I'll create a test event here. All right, test event is done. And when I invite guests, let's say I want to invite my marketing team here. I just invite attract at itGenius, and that group, which I've set up in the admin panel, is going to invite all the people that are involved in that group. And then if I choose to set that to repeat, I can choose to set that to repeat. So that maybe is weekly on Fridays, and maybe that's our all hands meeting. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save. I'm not going to send that to everyone, but that's going to appear on everyone's calendars. Now, the magic of this is when I onboard a new employee, when someone is starting with the business and it's their first day or their first week, when I go and set up their email address in the admin panel, so that's admin.google.com. I'm just going to go ahead and log in here. Waiting. It takes its darn time. Here we go. In directory and then groups. Once I've set up different groups of staff, all I need to do is add the staff member to the correct group, and then they're automatically going to get access to that repeating calendar event. I love that one. Okay, what else can we do to automate repetitive tasks? Well, maybe if we've got a task that needs to be done every week, we want to create a task. Well, we can do that inside our calendar, but we can also do that in many other areas of the Google ecosystem, because anywhere where you've got a sidebar, you can click on to the tasks button and you'll see your tasks can appear, okay? Great, so if I decide I want to access just my tasks alone, in the calendar menu, I can click onto switching to tasks up the top, and I can set up multiple lists of tasks here. I create a list on the left-hand side. And then I've got multiple lists of tasks to work through. But another way of creating a task would be to actually drop it straight onto the calendar, clicking onto the all day area on my calendar, creating a test task, and there we go. It saved it on my calendar list. Now, if I want that task to repeat, pretty straightforward. I can choose to have that task repeating, and it's going to automatically create a new task each time. So there we go. That's a repeated task. I'm going to go ahead and delete some of my test stuff here, just so my team don't wonder what is going on. I always seem to confuse them with my testing. Okay, so from there, we've done tasks. What is next on our list? Okay, so policies are another great way of automating things that would otherwise be having to be done manually. And policies live inside your Google admin panel. So if you log into admin.google.com, the most obvious policies that you might set are things like security settings across your Google Workspace account. So if, for example, you want to make sure that everybody in your business has two-factor authentication switched on, you would go to security and then authentication and then two-step verification. And here you can choose enforcement options to make sure everybody in the company has the correct settings set for two-factor. You can go and, of course, check whether or not they've got it switched on by using the user area. But some of the other policies that I really love are setting policies for Google Chrome. Usually when a staff member joins a business, we've got to give them all the apps that they need to access all of your online tools for your company, right? So they probably need access to your accounting system, maybe your billing system, maybe if you've got a CRM, like a customer management system. That person is probably going to need to log into a whole bunch of different cloud apps running on the web. And if you want to make their life easy for them, well, you can even give them links on how to access each one of those from within a policy in Google Workspace. So we do that by going to our management for Chrome, and you can see here we've got Chrome browser settings. So if you open up Chrome browser and then settings, and then I search for bookmarks. Now you see there's a few different options here. You're looking for the option called Managed Bookmarks. And you'll see that this will actually work on computers, on Chrome devices, on Android and iOS as well. So basically any device that's logged into someone's Google account, you can access this function. And Managed Bookmarks are a list of websites that we define as administrators that we want everyone in the company to have access to. And you'll see here in the top left-hand corner of my screen, when I click onto the links button, all of those tools are linked there for me. And anybody else who is in this organizational unit in my admin panel will also get all of those links too. So I really love this for automating, distributing important links to my team. It means that if somebody's new and they don't know what site they need to access for what particular tool, they've just got everything in one place, nice and easy. And I love that for helping them get started. Okay, great. So next up, automating repetitive tasks. Let's talk about scripting. Now, there's a few different ways that we can talk to Google Workspace if we want to get more done. You may choose to build an app that talks to the API. There's a pretty robust API for Workspace. You can do most things with the API. You can do many things with the API that you can't do in the user interface. And so if you're tech savvy or you have an engineering team internally, that's something that you might be interested in doing. The second option is to use a tool called GAM for Google Workspace. GAM, that's G-A-M. Now, this is a techo tool, but it's effectively a command line management tool with a bunch of short codes for doing tasks inside Workspace that, of course, uses the API to actually get things done. Now, if you're not a computer nerd, this one's probably not for you, but this might be something that if you're doing repetitive tasks, you want to give to your IT manager or your IT engineering team and have them get some automations happening. GAM is really useful if you don't want to necessarily write things manually to the API yourself, but you perhaps want to run certain scripts or certain tasks every day or every week. You can do that using GAM. Now, if you are non-techo, there are some other options if you want to do automation. Say, for example, onboarding of staff or offboarding of staff. Now, a pretty popular app that's been around for a long time is called Better Cloud. And Better Cloud is an overlay on top of Google Workspace. What Better Cloud does is it will help you to, oh, why is my screen gone dark? I've got to accept all the cookies. Better Cloud will help you to get your onboarding and offboarding and let's say your administration tasks more systemized in Google Workspace. This is really useful if you've got more than 30, 40, 50 employees, and as a larger organization, maybe as an IT manager or IT director, you need to get your Google Workspace following certain procedures when onboarding or offboarding and making sure they're consistent every time they're happening. So Better Cloud would be our recommendation if you're not so techo that you want to build something yourself manually using the API, but you do still want to get some automated repeated tasks happening. And finally, I would add, oops, I've gone to the wrong screen. Finally, I would add Zapier to the list. Now, Zapier is a great online service. Zapier allows you to automate tasks between different systems, but you can also set automated repeating tasks as well. And so Zapier will let you connect to Google Workspace. Maybe that's every time a spreadsheet is updated, automatically posting something into Google Chat. Maybe that's every time a lead comes in on your website, automating it to arrive somewhere in, I don't know, maybe your Google Contacts or, maybe in a CRM system that you've got. All of these can happen automatically, either on a repeating schedule, so it is automated, or just when somebody fills out a form. You can choose whatever trigger that you want to choose. But that's a quick summary of different ways that you can automate in Google Workspace. I'd love to know what your ideas are. Let me know if you're listening, if you've got anything that you think you could do better. Okay, so the next question is, what is the best way to manage large shared drives? So shared drives, for those uninitiated, are the way to store all of your information in Google Drive, keeping it safe and secure and making sure that you and your team are not letting files get into the wrong hands or accidentally get deleted by a third-party contractor or someone else who's outside your business. Now, shared drives allow you to do a few cool things like allow someone to put a file into a drive but not take it out of drive. You can do things like restrict right across the whole folder people from downloading, copying, or printing any of the files that are sitting within that folder. And shared drives are effectively the way that businesses should be sharing files inside of Workspace. If you're not using it, you should be. Check out one of our guides on the channel on how to use shared drives if you're new to getting them set up. Now, there are some limits on your shared drives if you have lots of files or if you have lots of gigabytes. The limit on the drive is technically only limited by the number of files. The actual size of the drive limits is going to come down to how much space you have available in your total Google Workspace account, because nowadays all of your account storage is just pooled together and each one of your users contributes their bit to the storage, but the account holds all the storage. Now, the limits on the number of files in the shared drives from memory are hundreds of thousands. Google Share Drive file limit. I think it was a couple of 100,000 last time I checked. There we go. So 500,000 items is the maximum that Google wants you to put in a shared drive. And ideally, if you're getting to that many files, you're going to split them across multiple places or multiple drives. So that's pretty straightforward to do. How do we check how to do that? How do we check how much storage space is being used? Well, first up, we're going to go into the admin panel, and I'm 99% sure it is in Insights, but have they moved that? I don't know. Maybe. Oh, it's been moved to reporting. There we go. Okay. So let's go and have a look at our Google Drive. See if we can find it. External shares, internal shares. No, that's not the one we want. I love it when it makes it difficult for me. All right, let's try this. Shared drive. Okay, I've got shared drive creation, but what I'm looking for is my actual usage. No, that's not the one. All right, it's going to make a liar out of me now. Data. Ah, okay. That looks more like compliance. Huh, okay. Well, I seem to have lost where it was in... It wouldn't be an audit, no, because that's all events. All right, here we go. Okay, cool. We've found it. So in your admin panel, reporting and then overview, and then you can see the different storage being utilized. If we click onto details, it's not showing me my shared drives. Where are my shared drives? I was sure this used to show me my shared drives. And this is what happens when Google moves stuff around again and again and again. No, we still don't have it. Okay, my team are going to have to pull that up and fix that one later, but that's all right. We won't waste any more time on that. We shall move along. If you want to move your files into different smaller shared drives, my recommendation would be to put them into logical areas of the business. There's two ways of doing that. You can have a simple folder structure if you're just getting started out, where you have one shared drive for your executives, one shared drive for your managers, and one shared drive for everyone else, the whole business, right? If you want to get a bit more sophisticated and you've got lots and lots of files in there, well, you might have one shared drive for each area of the business. One for marketing, one for sales, one for executive, and effectively then you've got different areas of the business covered in that drive, and then people know where to go to based on the area of the business that they're working in. Now, finally, you might also choose to have an individual shared drive per client. If you're in professional services, if you've got customers that you're working on projects with, all of those you may choose to have in an individual separate bucket, and that's where you can use one file or one shared drive for each one of those customers. Now, finally, if you're finding that you've got a lot of files stored in Google Drive and your Google account in general, you're starting to hit the upper limits. One of the ways to tidy it up is to actually do a drive audit. Now, there used to be a drive audit tool. I was trying to find it in Workspace, but there used to be a public drive audit tool, Google Drive folder sizes tool. Let's see if I can find it. Because there used to be a cool online app. All right, this looks like the one. File Rev, folder size analyzer. View folder sizes in Google Drive. So I'm hoping it's not going to ask me to pay for it. I haven't used this in about 5 years, but let's give it a go. Okay, it looks like for shared drives, I'm going to have to pay for it. But let's go ahead and start the scan on my drive at least. Okie dokie, there we go. So I've done this as an example on my drive. You can see here I've got 37 terabytes, which is quite a lot. A lot of uncategorized, which I don't know what they are, but I've got a hell of a lot of meat recordings. I've got some lost and found, whatever that is. Screencastify is a screen recording app, and you can see that most of my space is being taken up by video files. They're obviously the heaviest files. So there we go. I can dive into categories if I want. There's folders there as well. Storage analyzer, that gives me the actual individual folders there. And so lots of options to view through. So if you're looking for an option to actually do an audit and analyze exactly what's going on in your Workspace account, including your shared drives, you do have to pay for a paid plan for the shared drives. But there you go. You've got access to review each one of those. Pretty useful. All right, cool. Let me see. What our next question is. And if you're on the live, please jump in and say hello. Make sure you let me know if you're watching live. Don't have anyone on right this second, but I'm sure we'll have more join. All right, cool. The next question is, why is Google the best? What are the best collaboration tools for remote teams in Google Workspace? If you're a small business owner and you're using Google Workspace, chances are you probably have some team that are not working in exactly the same place as you. If you're anyone running a small business, even without Workspace, our new world is a world of remote and flexible work. So some of the features that Google have built in for remote work have been there since the very beginning, because Google have always tried to be a flexible company, and they're built on these principles themselves of collaborating remotely and keeping that productive and as efficient as possible. Now, yes, of course, Google has their offices, but they also have a lot of people who work from home and work from different locations as well. So some of the best features that are built into Google Workspace are, right from the very beginning, real-time synchronization of your documents. Whether you're working on a presentation, a document, or a spreadsheet, you can see exactly what's going on with other people at the same time. Now, the thing I love about this is obviously it completely eliminates the need to put a file in a folder or attach a file to an email and send it back and forward to someone, which very quickly can turn into someone having the wrong version of the file, someone trying to synchronize and having duplicated copies happen. When you've got a Google Doc, there is only one version of the document. That is the live version. Yes, you can access it offline and make changes, but once you're connected back online again, you are working on the live version of the document. Now, I love this because it can really change the game with how you work. Imagine, many years ago I had a supplier and they would send me a new price list every month of all their latest prices. And I always wondered, why don't they just put it in a Google Doc and change those prices, and I'll be able to see the latest prices live. And he could give me view access, so I don't necessarily have access to edit the document, but at least I can see everything changing in real time as it needs to. Simple things like that should be implemented right across the business. So I love that one, super useful. Secondly, cool, okay, so using Google Chat is probably the best ways to keep connected with a remote team. And one of the cool things that Google Chat does is it will help you to see the status of each one of your team members. Now, most of my team have actually finished for the day because it's quite late in the evening in Australia and I am currently in Europe. But when I log in to my Google Chat here, I'll be able to see the status of each person in my business. Now, I'm going to hover over Andrea here, or is it going to show her status? Maybe let's try opening. Here we go. Cool. All right. So if I hover over Andrea's status here, it's going to show me that she's currently on Do Not Disturb, maybe because it's evening time for her. If someone is currently in a meeting, I'll get a little orange notification that says, hey, they're either away from their desk or they're in a meeting at the moment. If they've got a meeting on their calendar, it's going to automatically change their status to having a meeting. I love that. And of course, if they're green, it means, hey, they're there, they're online, and you can reach out to them if you need to. Now, chat should come with a warning because it can be a bit of an interruption station for you and your team. And my strong preference is that you don't go interrupting people all day long on chat. My recommendation would be that you use a project management or shared task management app of some sort to get your work done. But when you really need it, chat is great. It feels like you're just there. And it's way better than using text messages or WhatsApp or Messenger, because those are all options that just really kind of hurt your team's productivity. It also is a bit weird to receive messages from your boss on your personal mobile when you're trying to text your friends there, and maybe you don't want to see your boss in your personal inbox. That's where using chat is great, because it can be put into a dedicated app. Each of your team members can chat with each other in the dedicated app, and it doesn't have to encroach into their personal life. It also means that you've got a backup of every conversation as well. Google Workspace keeps a backup of everything, and so you're able to see all of your conversations as you need to, search back through the history, and yeah, you don't have to worry about someone's phone or device going missing and losing company data. Okay, next up, what is Google great at for collaboration? Working with Google Meet and Google Video, I absolutely love. Many people still use Zoom. I think that's a bit nuts, because Google Meet does everything that Zoom can do. And because it runs in the browser, you don't have to worry about downloading the meeting recordings at the end of the meeting and then uploading them manually. You don't have to worry about converting the meeting recordings. They all just happen automatically to your Google Drive using the auto record button. You can automatically create notes if you want. If you want to have Gemini listen to your meeting and transcribe notes and give you a summary of the meeting, you can do that. And of course, it can annotate the meeting with other people as well. If you're online and you're doing a presentation and multiple people are hosting, or you're doing a webinar, there's annotation tools that work online in the Google Meet, and multiple people can collaborate on those, which we really love. Now, we use this all the time for our remote teams. We jump on a meeting, we open up a presentation, or we open up, a game or something. Whatever we're doing, we are using Google Meet for it right across our business. And, we absolutely love that. Okay, we are going next to, calendar. Okay. So if you're a small business owner, obviously you need to manage your schedule, and a calendar is a great way of doing that. But having a shared calendar with multiple people is really, really useful as well. If I'm opening my calendar here and I want to meet with one of my teammates, I can go ahead and start typing their name. And I can start to see multiple calendars and try and find time where all of us might be available. So by dragging and dropping, I can go ahead and it will open calendar for me. So I really love working with the calendar. Great feature there, great ability to get scheduling done with my team. But when we have, for example, something where I need to block out some time because I'm creating content, all I need to do is go to my calendar and then drag and drop an event and say, hey, today I'm focusing, and that's going to just mute all of my notifications. Or today I'm out of the office, and that's going to outright decline my meetings and say, hey, if you're trying to catch me at this time, I'm just not going to be there. Sorry. And that literally tells people you are not available. I love that. Now, when you've got your out of office set up, or when you've got your focus time set up, if someone goes to try and message you on chat, the message literally won't go through. It'll say, hey, thanks for reaching out, but Peter is away today. And what that means is that anyone, no matter where they are in the world, is going to know whether or not you're able to respond in a timely manner or not. Or if they're bothering you on your holiday, maybe they'll wait to send that message to you till Monday. Okay, I think we have covered all of calendar. Oh, no, there was one more magic one that my team wanted me to add. If you're sending a meeting to someone and they can't make that time, but there is an alternative time that they can meet, you can always hit the proposed times button. With proposed times, you can choose a different time that would be more suitable for the meeting, and then someone can go ahead and click that and join the meeting at another time. Love that feature. All right, I don't have many more people on the live, and I still got a little bit of jet lag, so my energy is going down a little bit. I'm going to wrap this one up for today, but I want to let you know, if you have questions that you want me to answer live, drop them in on ask.itgenius.com, and that link is down in here as well in the live, ask.itgenius.com. And what I'll be able to do is answer that on the next upcoming live. I don't know when that'll be, hopefully in the next week or so, but I will catch you in the next one. Cheers.